In this video, I'm going to be showing some strike animations that I've implemented in the character controller. So first off, I'll start off with the Maya source files. I'll start playing this one so you can see him from the side. Probably I'll slow him down or step through it frame by frame. So he's doing sort of like he's pitching baseball. And I'll show him from the back. Run it full speed. Yeah, that looks nicer. So this is the one where he's shooting from his right hand. And of course I have one from the left hand that I'll show next. So I'll stop that and I'll show the one from the left. So when you're playing the game, I'll alternate between either the left pitch and the right hand pitch. But it's good to see the animations. And what I do is at a certain frames, it looks good for me to do the blend. So in the finite state machine of the character controller, I wait for a specific frame and then do the blend. I think, yeah, 16, this is a good place for me to do a blend. So I would do it there. So these are just the animations, so I guess if someone's interested in how these would be authored, here's a nice example. What I'll move to next is I'll actually show them in the actual game with gameplay to see how they're implemented with the rest of the character controller. So that's what I'll do in the next portion of the video. Here I'm going to show the strike animations that I showed in the earlier portion of the video with the Maya files. So if I tap on the screen, you can see them. So as you can see, he alternates between left and right, and I'll show them from different angles. And as you can see, he integrates smoothly with what already is in there with the character controller. So he can also roll out, can also roll and go back into the strike animation. So this is, I guess, to explain why I've implemented this. He's going to be shooting some projectiles at some adversaries that come down the track. So that's why he has these animations, to defend himself against enemies that are approaching. And what I'll show next in the video is something we were experimenting with, which didn't end up working out. Where I have it's sort of like a machine gun sort of pitching style where he shoots in very rapid succession, and it just didn't look natural or appealing to the game, so we ditched it. But I think it's a good thing to show anyway, so that's what I'll show in the next portion of the video. So here's the example of the machine gun firing that I was talking about earlier that we dropped. As you can see, he's just moving way too quickly. It looks like a marionette. And the animation just doesn't look right for this type of game. So we decided to drop it. But at the same time, it looks kind of strange. And I figured it might be interesting for someone to see how we iterate and the things that we cut from the game. And this was one of them. It's a lot more responsive, I guess, to have this sort of machine gun pitching. But it just doesn't look appealing. So that's why we're going with the earlier method, which will work just as well. And for the final part of this video, I'm just going to show a little debugging trick or something that I use to figure out what other games are doing with animations. And you can either do it on an Apple computer with QuickTime Player, or you can do it on Windows also, and I'll explain what I do in the next portion of the video. But for now, here's our ultra-fast machine gun pitch. Okay, here I'm going to show the little trick I use to debug animation frames and also to look at other games to see what they're doing. And one thing you can do on the iPhone now is with QuickTime, you can actually record in-play game videos. So I took this game as an example because they had strike animations. So I managed to record it, and then I have the gameplay that I'm interested in looking at. So here he is running, doing his jumps, And that's what I wanted to see, these strike animations. So I can rewind it, and I can single step and see what I'm doing. So I'll just do a couple of taps. So there you can see him, he's just doing an animation. And then he seems to like, see how he did a pop? So there I can tell it looks like they're just layering the same animation and they're not even doing a blend, they're just replacing it, which, you know, I guess works for them. I wanted to do something different. But it gives me an idea. I can analyze other games, see what they're up to and what they're doing. There you can see that pop again. They just replace, if you're doing multiple strikes, they seem to just replace one strike with the other one and they just don't do any blends. Like, there's another example. He just does a weird pop. So at least it was enough to see what they were doing and to get an idea. There you can see they just keep popping frames. So not what I wanted to do, but it's something I can look at, and I look at other games, and I can also single step backwards. And I do the same for my game. Whenever I have some gameplay up and running, I record it. And I can also single step my game. So I can have a look at and see how the blending is working, how the interpolation is working, and any little issues, say there's some error with the blending or some little glitch or bug, I can single step through each frame and have an idea of what's going on. Let's see if I can get to where he's doing some strikes. Yeah, so there's an example. I can just get it to go back, and then I can analyze this. And I also pass these movies to the animator so that he can see how his animations are looking in game and make additional tweaks as necessary. But I figured I'd show this in case people don't know about this way of analyzing the animations, so that you can go step by step and ensure that everything is up to snuff and working correctly. And like I said, I pass these on to the animator and he does the same thing, single steps. And if he sees any flaws, which he usually will see, I'm not an animator, so the smaller details are lost, he can make tweaks as necessary and pass it back to me. Since he's we're not working in the same office, he's off-site, actually probably like 3,000 miles away. It makes it really convenient for me to send him these movie files, and then he can look through them, and it's almost like he's got it on his phone. So there you can see the side strafe and the same thing. I use these the animations also to make sure that the transitions are working correctly and that there's no weird popping. So that's pretty much all I have to show for the strike animations. I guess I could say that the preliminary game controller is now complete. He can pretty much do the basic controls that I need him to do. So the only thing I need to add would be secondary things to the controller, which I'll do at a later time. It's sort of the main gameplay is up and running, and these will be like secondary gameplay paths that he can go through. But what I'll be working on next is actual collision detection. So we'll be seeing obstacles that he needs to avoid, and when I have that running, I'll show it in the next video. That's probably going to use the technology that I showed in other videos, which is my brush-based collision detection. So that's what I'll have up and running in the next video. So till next time, thanks and bye.